This is Galaxy TV News. We will come back to the state congresses as held in many parts of the country, but let's go back now to Abuja, the nation's capital, where Sowore, publishers, our reporters, and former presidential candidate joins us live to share his views on the planned ENDSARS protests. Well, Sowore, just a moment ago I was asking just why do you think and crucial to celebrate 1 year anniversary of the ENDSARS protests, especially taking into consideration the fact that policemen and Nigerians lost their lives as well as properties last year?
Well, you just said it. You have just explained why there must be a commemoration at the memorial. It's going to be a commemoration because this is one of the most powerful mass actions that's ever taken place in Nigeria's history, ENDSARS. And it's going to be a memorial because people were actually murdered. They were assassinated at Lekki Tollgate and other parts of Nigeria for expressing their rights to peaceful assembly. Several days, particularly on October the 20th, 2020. So there's nowhere in the world that you have such a massive mass action that has brought about such a big impact that you don't celebrate them, so that it leads you to a different path in the future of the country. And where people have been killed, and there are deniers, and their bodies are being hidden, we have a duty to ensure that those guys lay down their lives. Lekki Tollgate, in particular, other parts of Nigeria, fighting against police brutality, and in a way, fighting for the expansion of the democratic space in Nigeria, remembered on that day. So there's no question about it.
Well, Sowore, the audio connection doesn't seem too clear, but perhaps you could also share with us the fears of the federal government as well as the Nigeria Police Force. They have appealed against the planned protest because it may be hijacked by hoodlums. Don't you think it is better to avoid such a scenario?
The law is very clear that whenever there's a protest, where the protesters, organizers have declared that they want to have a peaceful protest, it is the duty of the police to protect them. What we saw with ENDSARS in 2020 was that the government, in particular, in Lagos in particular, where I participated, government forced the hoodlums to go and attack peaceful protesters. People were attacked and injured in Abuja, 2 people died. There's a hoodlum, the leader of the hoodlum, who came in the official bus of the Lagos state government to attack people in front of the Lagos secretariat. His picture is all over the place. We should stop calling Nigerians hoodlums. There are no hoodlums. This is people in government who refuse to protect the interests of the people when they are protesting peacefully, which is their fundamental rights, that are hoodlum in nature. It is people in government who pay these hoodlums, drive them around in official government vehicles to attack peaceful protesters that are hoodlums. So there's nobody who participated in ENDSARS last year. All of them well known, most of them very popular, some of them international music artists who can be called hoodlums. We know that. We know the people who are hoodlums, and we know the people who cause the hoodlums to
allegations.
So why should we keep
perhaps we should
this in the media that they were hoodlums?
Yes, indeed, there are very, very weighty allegations. Let me also ask you this, because I mean there are also some controversies surrounding what exactly we are looking at. Some people say probably the language is what the police is probably concerned and worried about. So is it anniversary, or is it a remembrance? Is it a protest? What exactly are we looking at?
The police doesn't have the right to tell people how to design their protest, what to call it, what nomenclature to use, how to brand it. That is the prerogative of the protesters. If you like it, you can call it an anniversary, you can call it a memorial, you can call it any name you want. The police is not a language institution that tells people what language to use in public. No, it is the right of people to determine what they call it. The duty of the police is to protect Nigerians, protect protesters when there are peaceful protests. And they know how to do this when they want to do the right thing. But what we are doing here is that the police has become a VIP protection unit that's always harassing and beating up people, killing them. And it was this excessive action of the police that led to ENDSARS in the first place. The police should entirely have cooperated and be very sober at this time, considering the fact that the people who protested against them last year are still very angry. And there have been panels that have been set up that have indicted police officers. They have not tried any one of them. It was when they knew that there's going to be another ENDSARS that they were announcing yesterday. The vice president was announcing that they're going to start trying the policemen and that they're going to start compensating people, including people who they said are ENDSARS victims. These are the same people that denied that nobody was killed during ENDSARS. They are running around helter-skelter now because they have discovered that the young people in this country have found their voice through ENDSARS last year, and they're going to back on the street regardless of what the police think of it. Because the police is a servant of the people. The police is not to lord its weapons purchased by taxpayers' money.
Yes, so just before perhaps I'll let you go, there were indeed demands by the protesters last year, 5 for 5 or 7 for 7. At some points, the demands was even conflicting. But in your opinion, has those demands been met just yet?
They haven't been met. In fact, it was yesterday that the vice president issued a statement that they are going to meet some of the demands because they were jittery that people are going to come out en masse on Wednesday. And in Abuja, they set up a panel to look into ENDSARS violence. They paused the panel, muted the panel for 7 months. When they discover people are going back on the street, they just recently announced that the panel is going to resume work. Meanwhile, Abuja still has some SARS operation going on in the place they call Abattoir, where my nose was broken last January. So those guys are still intact. They are still searching phones. They are still harassing people. They are still, extorting money from young people. So without dealing with these things, you start, insulting people by telling them that they can't go out and exercise their fundamental rights, to freedom of expression, press, association, and those things that are guaranteed internationally. So I don't think they get it, but they're going to get it very soon because this is a generation that is here for liberation. They found their voice and they will never lose it regardless of the threats.
Well, I guess that's a good place to anchor our conversation. Omoyole Sowore, publisher, Sahara Reporters, as well as a former presidential candidate. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with us on our Primetime News.
Thank you for having me.